Alright, since I'm alone here for a minute, if anybody's watching, I have attempted a couple multicolor prints and I have had very little success at the moment. I found a link about trying to enable some logging and trying to figure out where that was. The heater channel faults with, oh, here we go, with no fault codes coming out. There's a built-in setting in the web interface to request that the duet log every G-code and its response. However, for example, adding 114 report position to the code at every layer change, the firmware can be put into a debugging mode with M111, which causes many debug messages to be sent to the USB port. You can specify debugging messages only from certain submodules to get a list. Send M11 S1 P15. Alright, let's look up the M111 command. Well, let's try M11 P1 S1. Let's see what happens here. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to try is I'm just going to manhandle the wiring around a little bit and see if I can get it to fault out. Nothing too crazy because I don't want to actually break it when it's not broken. So wiggling wires, nothing seems to be an issue here. Now let's deliberately pull the temperature. There we go, we have a fault. And no messages. Okay. We did see a temperature spike. So that's another thing that's weird with this. For some reason, it did not wait for it to heat up there. It just picked it. It's like it's no longer paying attention to whether or not it's very frustrating. Wait for set temperatures to be reached. Yeah, just unplugged it and plugged it back in really quickly. Nothing. Let's try to run an auto tune here. Now, it didn't work the last time I tried to run an auto tune, but that was before I upgraded, so let's see if maybe something got fixed. To do that, there is some instructions in the Jubilee wiki, and I'm sure there's other places, but I gotta find it really quickly through the wiki. So, surprised Brian isn't back yet. Extruder tuning. So we'll do under 1. Remote heater auto tune not implemented. So what I'm wondering is if I had a fault due to tuning. I don't think I have any tuning set. Hmm. Hmm. No idea.
to the frame rather than through the motor. And then, so what we're doing with that is we're taking all that load off of the motor shaft, and the coupling is allowed to basically free float the way it's supposed to.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. The other thing is we identified that if you're not using the specific steppers for the Z's, a lot of the other stepper motors out there have a 25 millimeter shaft, or 25 millimeters long, instead of 22. And Josh's design and the coupling drives the shaft a lot farther into the coupling than is designed for that coupling. So what you end up doing is compressing the coupling. The shafts are in direct contact with the polymer spider that's in the middle of it. So you're not getting that flex like you're supposed to.
Right.
And with the longer shaft motor, and if your motor body's a little longer, what happens is your motor is too close to the ground or too close to the table.
Makes sense. I've been wondering about doing subtractive building with it.
Well, that's actually something. Oh, that's actually in the works. It's a tool. So there's a model. We're actually it's prototyped. We're not actually anywhere near release on it. But Josh is working on a spindle that goes into a tool position.
Cool.
And the spindle, the motor is actually off. It's using a flexible shaft for the spindle. So it's a lightweight
like
spindle that couples
Dremel
and then
design, or
yep. Essentially, you're essentially clamping a Dremel to it.
Yep, makes sense. I've seen this before, and that works. But yeah, it also adds with the Z-force, right? Because those tools will press down on it, and that it adds more. I mean, it's like having an additional weight on it.
Yep. 1 day, 1 hour, and 4 minutes. That's a long print. Yeah, the feet the feet are 60 millimeters tall, or the modified feet that I've made in order to get mine to fit.
Right.
Looks like Eric is back.
Yeah. How's it going?
Yeah.
He is, but he's muted.
Yes, I'm back.
Fun with multiple tools.
I wish. So far, it hasn't been so much fun.
Yeah, I'm at the point now where I'm connecting up the tool lock to the carriage, but I don't have the brain power to work on it tonight, so I'll leave it till tomorrow.
What are the issues you run into in it?
It's not really an issue. It's just today's been a long day, and I ended up doing a lot of yard work, so I'm just kind of done.
So I don't know what my issue has been, but I keep having the heater fault. And I heated it up. I moved the wires all over the place to try to make sure there wasn't something loose. I checked every single step, wiggled it all around, no heater faults. But here's the weird thing. I can unplug it and plug it back in. I'll see a spike in the temperature chart when I do that, but no fault messages actually get generated anywhere. And I've tried running the commands to turn on messaging. I'm wondering if it just doesn't work for the expansion boards at the moment. I tried to run a what was it, M503 or whatever the auto tune is, and apparently RC8 has a message for it now. It just says that auto-tune is not supported on remote boards or something to that effect. So back in 3.0, it didn't have any message whatsoever. It just didn't do anything. So at least it has a message now. But my thought was maybe there was something in the tuning that was causing a problem, because there is no tuning. But I don't know. Did my sound go out, or are you not saying anything?
Oh, no. I'm sorry. I'm setting up a print job. I've
Okay.
made new feet for my printer.
Right.
And I've just got to print them, so I've got to set up the job.
I have my new steppers in, but I kind of want to try to actually have this print first.
Is this a multicolor print?
Yeah, I should have. This is a file I designed myself, just to prove that the tools are aligned or not aligned. I did get a little bit of plastic to come out the first time I tried to print it earlier today, but I really should reduce the surface area for the print. Anyway, what I did is I basically have a couple islands that are 2 millimeter wide, and they butt right up next to each other. And then I print another 2 millimeter wide wall on top of 5 millimeters up, and then place the other tool on top of that. So.
Oh, okay.
So basically, I should be able to get some really nice look at the alignment. Because the poker chip, if you actually look closely at it, it is not aligned perfectly.
No, I saw some gaps.
Yeah. So.
But it's not terribly far off.
No, but it's definitely far off enough that it would be an issue.
Oh yeah.
That said, though, I ran TAMV today several times while making the video, and I got some pretty consistent results. Like every time I ran it, I don't remember how different it was from the first time I ran it last night, but anyway, every subsequent time I ran TAMV, it was within a couple hundredths of a millimeter. Whoa.
You're within one step, right?
What the hell is going on now? Hold on.
I might break up here in a little bit. I'm gotta step into the other room while I'm cleaning the print bed before the job.
What is going on?
That's never a good sound.
No, it's the heater's all turned off, and it's not even giving me the option to cancel the print, but it was still trying to print. But yeah, all the heaters turned off. No idea.
Sounds like a fault of some sort that triggered a.
But neither heaters had faulted. They were just off. So it was printing. I hadn't even started printing with the other tool head yet. That's really bizarre. So it started, and it just kept printing, And of course, the temperature dropped to like 50 degrees, and well, that doesn't really make good extrusion material. So it just, yeah.
That's not good.
Nope. I don't know. I think there's still some flakiness with the,
With the duet.
yeah.
Okay.
So the Duet 3 is still pretty new, so. And the RepRap 3 is pretty new in general. I'm gonna try just cycling power on the entire machine.
Watch your tools.
I know they're hot, but I'm gonna turn it right back on.
No, I meant just knowing where they are. That's all.
Oh, I already hung it back up. I had to e-stop that print because it wouldn't let me pause and cancel. It was, so it basically said like the web interface was pretending like it wasn't doing anything while the printer was continuing to print. Like there was some sort of disconnect between the Raspberry Pi and the Duet 3. I don't know, I've seen that kind of stuff happen a few times, it seems like, where the interface seems to not really have a good solid clue what's going on.
Okay.
What was that?
Oh, that was just okay. I'm getting ready to. I just finished cleaning the print bed and getting ready to set up the job.
It's just frustrating. It can't seem like when things are not going right, they really just don't go right. There's definitely some stuff that's kind of frustrating about 3D printers. Like I'm used to being able to tell them like for work. Like I can tell the printer to do the machine literally does whatever. You know, it's like if I want two things to move in a parallel fashion, like you know, like parallel streams of GCode or whatever, I can move however many servos triggering independently from each other as I want, and you know, things of that nature.
Well, that's the difference between a $500,000 machine and well, this.
True. Very
and Duet's
true.
supposed to. I mean, they're. We were talking last night. Remember, Daniel was saying something about
that
the
it's
Duet
in
folks
the
are.
pipeline, yeah.
Yeah, four parallel streams of GCode. So that way you can do things like start preheating nozzles and whatnot.
Well, it already kind of like does that in a way because you can maintain the heat of as many heaters as you want, as far as I'm aware. Like I can run
Yeah.
all 3 heaters, bed heater, both tools, and presumably 2 more tools simultaneously, but I can't like actually
Well,
run the
you
stepper
could
motor.
probably run 6 tools total, right?
I'd imagine so, yeah.
I mean, the expansion boards you've got 6 expansions in the
Yeah.
2 expansion boards. You've got the 3 HCs.
Right.
Okay. Ah, 25-hour print.
So someone mentioned using the Clipper firmware on here for the A8.
Yeah. So have you ever done anything with Clipper before?
Nope, I was just reading the docs.
Okay. It's not as hard as it looks. It is pretty well documented, and the community is pretty solid. I've got multiple machines running Clipper, and I actually kind of like the way Clipper runs as far as the configuration goes. No recompiles or anything like that. You just update the configuration file, restart the host and the firmware, and you're ready to go. And the host is an app or is a service on the that's running on the Raspberry Pi. So,
Right.
The machine definitions. There's a lot of configurations that people have already figured out for you. So you can use those as a starting point. It's got a lot of good conditionals in it, so you can actually do some conditional G-code. You can do a lot of macros, so you can create a lot of G-code macros that can be called from a single G-code statement, or you can even use command line stuff from the terminal. So it works pretty well. I've got it running on CR10 S5 back here, which would be a lot happier with if the big old orange cat didn't keep sitting on the bed. If it's not actually running a print, which means I have to readjust the bed every time he does it. Because
sense the pressure and crank up the heat.
Well, he's actually walked across it when it's on, which I was not. I was more concerned about him burning his paws because I've got this is a 500 by 500 build bed, and I've got a 1300 watt Canovo AC heater on it, so it gets to 60 in about 90 seconds.
Nice. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised because until I joined this Discord, I've never even heard of it.
Oh yeah.
I've been reading about different firmwares just out of curiosity. So I come across a smoothie board and their firmware and whatnot, but everybody's Marlin or Marlin derivatives. So.
Clipper offloads a lot of the planning, or the planner and the kinematics to the Raspberry Pi.
Right. awesome. GPL v3. Does Jubilee run in Clipper? Or
We actually have a couple of folks who are working on it, and they're planning on using SKR boards because you need 6 steppers, 6 independent steppers just for the main kinematics,
right?
Just for the motion system, and then you need, other stepper controllers for the different tools. But Clipper has it doesn't care how many MCU motion control units you're running against it. So you can talk to multiple of these SKR boards, or whatever low-cost board you want to use, right? And Clipper doesn't care, as long as you've defined each of the steppers. And as long as you've defined everything in the Clipper configuration, it will manage them all. So you could use, say you had a couple of SKR 1.4 turbos, right? Well, they each manage 4 or 5. They each have 5 stepper drivers on them, right?
Right.
So you've got 10 right there, which 2 of those would run a 4-tool Jubilee. And so you've got about $60 in boards. You throw a Raspberry Pi 4 in there with 4 gig of RAM. It's another $60, and you should be in pretty good shape. You could drive all of those with 2209s if you wanted to.
Right. That's actually just one of the things I just ordered was the SKR 1.4 Pro with 5 2209 board.
Yeah, I did too. I'm upgrading my CR10S. So I've got a CR10S with the original board on it, and it's just as loud as anything. So using the SKR Mini E3s or Ender 5s, Ender 3s. I've got a Marlin firmware that I've tweaked to the point where it's just like, and here's the board, flash the firmware on it. About a 30-minute swap out in the machine because I always take the time to ferrule all the leads and things like that because the enders and whatnot they've soldered them into the crimp joints or into the screw terminals, or they tin the leads before they put them in the screw terminals, and I cut them off and put a ferrule on them and stuff like that. So, and the Ender 5s have been moving the power box and mounting the Pi inside the box. So, I've been trying to run multiple machines off a single Pi, and I keep running into problems with it. So.
Interesting.
Okay. All right. 203, 204.
I wish there was an LED driver on the 3HC boards.
Yeah?
Yeah, it'd be nice to have one dedicated to the camera and one that could run the lighting that I plan to do at some point in the rest of the machine.
The Pi could drive all that.
That's true.
You put you do a controller off to the side, and the Pi can just manage it. Or you could just use an I/O pin for it.
Well, if you did something like dot star or something, you wouldn't need a separate controller, would you?
No, no. You could use if you're using dot stars, you can pull dot stars right off of the dot. And the thing is, remember, dot stars is a chain. They're individually addressable. So if you've got different LEDs in different parts of the machine, you can turn them all on and off independently. Different colors, different intensities, things like that.
No, really, all I want is to turn on and off some white LEDs.
What?
I don't really.
Dude, seriously, I just opened the refrigerator. You're not getting anything out of it. Sorry, I spend a lot of time talking to my cats.
He does. It's true.
Alright, gentlemen, thank you for the info. Could take care of some other stuff.
Oh, look at that. You scared him away.
Huh?
Yeah, I'll be back. No worries.
No worries. Yeah, no. If you get to a point where you want to talk about Clipper, just and you get once you've done a little bit of reading, if you have questions, ImpC and myself can both help you with that.
Yeah, to me, I'm a software developer, right? So to me, matters is something that's easy to contribute to and stuff. So in that respect, it's in.
All right. Well, have a good evening.
You too.
All right.
And there we go. Heater 2 is faulted.
Really?
It seems like it happens when it goes to drop the tool off.
Oh, here you go, buddy. That's weird.
It's like I need to add the heater reset fault code to the frickin' tool change command. Sounds
That's kind of weird.
Yeah. The other thing is, huh?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
The other thing is, it doesn't seem to really wait for it to heat up. Like after it gets to heat the first time, then it goes to switch tools, it'll just like pick it up regardless of whatever temperature it's at. Like if the heater's faulted, it doesn't care, it still tries to print. It's really weird. Like the heater faulting does not interrupt the print process. I would think it would just by default. Maybe there's something I have to enable in the GCode to stop it, but what was that command number? 553 or something like that? Here's an interesting one. GCode 570. Here, I'll drop it in the live stream. Oops. It's heater fault detection. So you can configure the heater fault detection. So you can set the heater number, time in seconds. Oh, here, I'll just paste it.
Okay.
So I think that will be something I need to add to my configuration.
Is the heater is the heater changing the variation of its or are you seeing anything in the chart before the heater faults?
I don't see jack diddly squat anywhere when the heater faults. All of a sudden it just says fault on the screen.
Okay.
It's really frustrating, and I've tried enabling logging and all sorts of stuff, and nothing seems to actually enable. I don't know if it's a Duet thing or what. Duet 3 thing. But I've looked up like logging G-code to enable logging, and it doesn't seem to do anything.
Oh my. Somebody's awake.
Yeah, I thought I heard something from upstairs, so I just turned the camera on.
Oh.
I don't know why he won't fall asleep.
He sounds upset.
There's a default that the heater has to be faulted for 10 minutes before it will fault the print.
10 minutes or 10 seconds?
10 minutes.
Really?
No wonder, but it should pause, you'd think, the printer. But it doesn't. It just keeps printing and printing and printing until you've ended up with an issue. So, what the heck? It says the heater's faulted again. Alright. Apparently I gotta end the stream because this kid's not gonna sleep.
Okay. Well,